Hi, this is Robbie Thomas, Bay Area Downsizer. Let's look at the May 2025 market update, taking into consideration housing supply, interest rates, historic data, and the future outlook. So here we go. 70% of Americans are concerned about a potential housing crash in 2025. This is nationwide. Here in the Bay Area, too, people are concerned about a recession and a potential housing crash, which I personally don't see happening, although there's more homes on the market. Let's look into the data. So this data is from Clever Real Estate. 32% of those who planned a major purchase this year say they're now delaying it, including one in four, 22% who plan to buy a home, one in eight, 13% who plan to sell a home. Keep in mind, the one in eight are really locked into their interest rates for the 30-year fix when they refied at a very low, like low threes, and the ones who are planning to buy, they're holding off because the interest rate is around 6.5 to 6.8 at this point. Next slide. Though many Americans believe the housing market is at risk of crashing, economists who study housing market conditions generally do not expect a crash in 2025 or beyond unless the economic outlook changes. And this is from Business Insider. Next slide is from Mark Fleming, chief economist at First American. What he says is there's just generally not enough supply. There is more people than housing inventory. It's economics 101. Now let's look at the supply of homes for sale um, compared to this time last year, May of last year, 2024, versus now. There's 30.6% increase in the number of homes. But you compare that to the pre-pandemic years, which is 2017 to 2019, there's minus 16.3% growth. So there is still a shortage of supply, even though the number of homes are sitting on the market. If there's any change in the economic outlook with some stability, coming out of the news of the stock market continuing to rise again, the buyers will be back into the market to buy. Next slide is from Lawrence Yun again, the chief economist at National Association of Realtors. Home price growth will moderate due to more supply coming onto the market. Having income and wages rise faster than home prices are welcome to improve affordability. Let's look at the home price growth moderating year over year. Let's look at February 24, 7% growth nationwide, and it kind of slides down to the lowest at 4.2% in the August of 2024, and then stabilizes between 4.2 to 4.8 in January 2025, and in February 2025 it's gone down to 3.9%. So it's still overall green, slightly higher than the other previous years. So still continuing to grow, although not as great as before. Freddie Mac says we expect the pace of house price appreciation to moderate from the levels seen in 2024 while still maintaining a positive trajectory. Lawrence Yun again says that there's just simply not enough supply. So the economics of supply and demand, if there's a shortage, prices simply cannot crash. Now let's look at the mortgage rates. If you look from 3 2025, you can see over here that it was at 6.75 for the 30-year fixed mortgage rate, came down, and in April it went down to 6.8 something, around 6.6 something over here, and then spiked all the way suddenly to 7.01 or zero 0.5, then whipped down and then back up and down again over here and slowly rising over here. It's holding steady somewhere here at about 6.8 something in May of 2025. Let's look at what Jerome Powell, the chief of Federal Reserve, said. As that great Chicago and Ferris Bueller once noted, life moves pretty fast. For the first time being, we are well positioned to wait for greater clarity. So basically, he's saying that he's waiting, he's positioned to wait for greater clarity in the larger markets. And that's also a reason why people are kind of uncertain as to buy now or buy later. Let's look at the inflation part of it and how that also plays a part in the decision making of the buyers. Inflation is easing but remains elevated. So the PCE is the core personal consumption expenditures price index year on year, and it's adjusted seasonally. The Fed Reserve target is 2%. It peaked at March 2022 at 5.3% and then kept falling steadily, and now kind of at 2.6% in March of 2025, and then 2.6 at April 2025. So it is coming closer to their target rate of 2%. Let's also look at the unemployment. So unemployment remains steady. It peaked at around 15, close to 15% in May of 2020, and then kept sliding lower, and then came to the green, which is positive as long as it's green, and is holding steady at around 4.2 in April, seasonally adjusted. So even the nationwide jobs are holding steady. Expect 3 or 4 federal funds rate cuts this year. Yeah, this is the consensus of all the economists and all the experts in the field. What they're saying is there's the 36.5% of all of the consensus says that there's going to be at least 3 rate cuts this year. So let's look at the mortgage rate projections for the 30-year fixed. So 2025 quarter two, average of all four, which is Fannie Mae, MBA, NAHB, and Wells Fargo, says 6.63% second quarter. Third quarter, the consensus is at 6.47%, and fourth quarter of 2025 is at 6.36, which is considerably low from the high sixes as of right now. This is the same information but in a linear line chart. Lawrence Yun also says that a meaningful decline in mortgage rates would help both demand and supply. Demand by boosting affordability, and supply by lessening the power of the mortgage rate lock in effect, which is what's happened in the last few years, where a majority of the home buyers locked in their rates at 3%, and they really think 10 times before they have to sell and buy another house unless they're paying all cash for double or more the interest rates. Lawrence also says even in an economic recession, generally home sales can rise if the mortgage rate declines. So, taking a segue away from all this data, which I've showed you, it looks like the Fed is waiting for clarity on the larger market. The buyers are waiting for the interest rates to fall. Sellers are also waiting for the interest rates to fall so they can sell and buy the replacement property, unless they have all cash, which is a very small segment of sellers. Now, looking at the repeat business, it is continuing to fall. This is data from Zillow. What's happening is most of the home sellers are not using their previous realtor because they're looking for new avenues, unconventional ways to sell their property, the non-traditional way. So if you're looking for something like that, do give me a call. No obligation whatsoever. My name's Robbie. For especially in the Bay Area, or just to have a conversation to figure how to price your home, how to market your home. If especially if it has been on the market, it came off the market, and you want to try selling the home, we could have a casual conversation. Robbie Thomas, Bay Area Downsizer, 510-374-2264. Thank you.